Hey everybody, this is DayTraderRockStar, and this is Market Radar for the week of June 15th, which also includes some other things and some reviews and some education. So, it's really my first day back, first watch list back from my vacation. And, I was able to put a really good amount of time into research this weekend, and I'm still here at the office. But, so what I'm going to do, I'm planning on this video, we've kind of switched the format going back to individual, I wanted to go back to individual videos representing each of the HPS watch lists. But because of the information today and the scenario that's coming up this week, I want to just kind of keep it the long format one more week so I could get into the rhythm again. Plus, there's just so much I had to catch up on. So it's going to be a couple of videos. I want to break it down, market radar first, and then we're going to do some reviews and some education, and then we're going to go over the watch list for the members. And I'll try to time that so you know what stocks are at what time. And then next week again we'll get back to the individual videos. Just an update on that. First part here, going into this week, coming out of last week, the last big event we had, when we talk about charts, is that oversold 60-minute stochastic setup here. And we had a nice little bounce here, and it rotated like it was supposed to, and it got back up here, a little overbought, now it's pulled back. And the pullback here could be, partly caused by some of the Greek tension out there over the last couple of days. But technically also, it's just kind of refilling its levels. We have to get a move up. We have to get that pullback, and we'll continue to, measure these moves out. And this is, you can see it's kind of embedded down here. It's kind of flatline. If everything was just hunky-dory in the markets, I would say, yeah, things are just the same. But there's a big event that's taking place right now, and it's going to, go into Thursday. Right now, talks are breaking down. Between Greek ministers and the creditors. Basically, if you haven't heard about this, then, basically just do some research on what's going on for the last many months and possibly years here now. And it was supposed to have a deadline coming up, and it doesn't look like they're going to make this deadline. And the market here, after all is said and done, I'm not worried about it. I think the market's going to continue to move higher. It's the event that's at hand that makes things more volatile. Short term, the market's going to be affected by bad news still. Even though, if they do default and they go through their time and it's just it's just bad news, the worst case scenario, yeah, I think the market has a good shot of, moving down quickly, aggressively, but nothing too serious that we don't get that right back. And I'll tell you why. I mean, this is just an event that's been carried over and over and over and on and focused on so much that the market has, two options here. They fix it, or they don't, and they bail out. And the market has a way of just, pricing in the news before the news actually hits. And I think most of the news here, as they say, we're reaching the 11th hour, is got to be negative. So, I think that, the worst case scenario is being priced into this market, and it'll be a tremendous relief, just a relief that this is no longer overhanging us, that will cause that relief rally. And that would be just putting that behind us. It's not worries. Finally Greece is dealt with. It's defaulted. Whatever. It's going to exit. I'm not worried about contagion yet. I'm not worried about other. It's Greece. Come on. So again, we have that, and it's in. As I can read the story right now, I'll break it down for you a little. Talks had just broken down, and this is on Sunday evening after the new economic reform proposal submitted by Athens was deemed inadequate to continue the negotiations. So basically everyone walked out, and they said that this was last try by one of the Eurozone officials involved in the talks. The Commission spokesman said that there remained a significant gap between the two sides, amounting up to $2 billion per year, and there was no longer time to reach a positive assessment of Greek efforts before the high-stakes meeting of the Eurozone financial ministers on Thursday. While some progress was made, our talks did not succeed, said the spokesman. On this basis, further discussion will now have to take place in the Eurogroup. So they're going to move this out till Thursday, and basically they had to the end of the month to kind of get something set here. So time is ticking. The article goes further into saying even if they came to an agreement or they submitted some kind of plan, it would have to go to Greek Parliament. They don't even know if they're going to have enough time to do that. There's a lot of stuff that's going to mess this market up. It's going to make things very hard to call, and you have to do your best right at this point to try not to get yourself into that gambling mode. Like, which way do you think it's going to go? Because it's a gamble at this point. So the watch list that's going to come out, it has to understand that even though these are some great setups, market weakness caused by outside news is going to mess up a lot of charts. It's going to react. You're going to get some flushes. You'll probably get those levels back again, and you should be able to take advantage of it. But try not to be stuck in it, because then you're going to be standing there with your hands tied. The market's going to be selling. You're not going to have any. So it's difficult here. I don't want to take anything really aggressive going into this week. I do think there's some great setups, but again, I would even say, hey, hold off this week. Let's get this behind us, and then let's start really, nailing everything once it gets behind us and the market can get into a rhythm. Right now, it's just a big gamble, and we're going to have to cover it. We're going to try to trade it, but we're not going to be too aggressive and not put ourselves out there to get really hurt. Also, futures open tonight, Sunday, the 14th, Sunday night, 6 o'clock. I'll be here at the office covering that. So we're going to see if there's going to be any reaction to the futures this morning. I have a feeling this evening. I have a feeling there will be. But that's going to be a big tell in the markets with the news out here, and just say for instance, there is not a big reaction. Actually, the market actually holds ground or even moves a little bit higher, gaps up. That would be an indication of that market really pricing in the bad news, but I don't see that. I actually see the market getting hit on the open here. But that's going to be interesting to see. The market opens up at 6 o'clock. And we'll be here to cover that Sunday, and that's today. I'm getting this out here soon. So the hourly is embedded. We can't really go by that. I mean, normally we'd want to see this rotation back up, but everything played out perfectly. You had the nice bounce. You moved up against this trend line. You got overbought. It pulled back. Was there any Greece news added to that? What happens if there's no Greece news? Do we still get a rotation, a more organized move back up? You have to let this play out. The daily. We had a nice bounce. The daily was key. That was the main thing right here. We're looking for that daily to go oversold, and we're looking for that to move back up. And we got a nice move. And again, Friday could be some news out there that affecting this market. Would we have moved higher off it if that news wasn't out there? So we have to let this play out. I'm not going to say it anymore. Cautious this week, but we will go over. I want to show you the great setups this week anyway. All right, at this point, I want to show you some of the setups that HPS triggered for this week. And there's actually one from last week, too, because I was on vacation when that triggered. And we're going to take a look at those right now and show you why they triggered and what kind of, these are HPS type of stocks. So when you see the alert that goes out, or you see this chart is actually on the HPS site. So when you go to if you're in the dashboard or you're a new member or whatever, up on top it'll say HPS watch list. You click on that, it'll bring you to this site, and it'll have all the list of stocks, what our buy triggers are, what our targets are, and it's all automated. You'll get the alerts set up, and basically the alerts are set up off the chart. So I basically break these down in a video like this. We talk about our buy signals, our buy zones, so you get the alert when this price moves into this zone. This is where you want to accumulate. And then if it hits a profit zone, it's going to give you an alert, so it tells you that the price is up in a profit zone. And if it hits a stop, it will also give you an alert. So it's all, it's just kind of a nice automated system. And this one just chopped around sideways and finally spiked up into our zone there. And we've traded this one. This was a good trade. Fantastic setup there. The next one was Procter & Gamble. Now, Procter & Gamble is just what we call a channel, an oversold lower channel line bounce. And what we want to do is you want to let that price, once you establish what we call a 1, 2, 3 pattern, or 3 really significant pivots, we could actually put in a parallel line. And once that line is confirmed, you can confirmed it back here. We want to really pay attention to this if it comes back and touches this line again, because this is giving us the best risk-reward type of play in this type of pattern. There was a good shot that this actually moves up off of this, and it wasn't a definite, but that's why we put the alerts in the room. I'll also explain on the video how we want to see this rotate back down into an oversold level as this all plays out. So, again, this was almost a perfect textbook. You don't see the stochastics rotate down here because stochastics don't work in the in the back testing phase here on TradingView. I'm trying to get them to fix that. So, but if you look at it on a real-time chart or a different chart, you'll see the stochastics rotated back down here. We pulled right down to the lower trend line, and then from that point on, we bounced, and we bounced aggressively right up to the profit zone. You get the alert. Even though the stock is pulled back down, we're talking about why are we in this? Why do we find this area more interesting than just this area? And it's because we got a lot of things that line up. Recognizable pattern, the time frame on the stochastics, the reversal candle. Those are 3 indicators out of 5 that we look for. And if you have 3 out of 5, then it's considered an HPS quality setup, and that's basically how we put that through the machine there. I'm very proud of this one myself. The LUV. So we had a good pivot area, two big candles up here, up on the top. And when I see these nice candles, I extend that trend line down, and then I have another underlying trend line. And the only reason I put that underlying trend line, that matched up with this 1, 2, 3 pivot area. So if this was a pivot area, this is a pivot. I want to use this area as a pivot, and I just make a parallel line. And this is a little wedge to it, but this is more of the parallel line. So we're paying attention to that buy zone down here. That's the reason we put that down there. And we got a nice move down to it, and then we got a nice move right up to it. Now, this is the original alert, buy zone to sell zone. And since then, it's pulled back down. It's no longer active because the alerts only get triggered once if it hits the buy signal or the short signal. If it is a short, don't forget that we do have shorts on these. The only thing that can happen next with a stop or a profit zone needs to be hit. And the profit zone gets hit before the stop, then you'll get it on the you'll see it on the chart that the trade has ended. But again, it's always good to go back to these because there's an underlying trend line right here again, and this is where we took it again. So there was a couple good trades you could get in this, and I still think this one's one of the better ones. And we're going to talk about that one during the watch list and the setup. You're going to have a lane divergence, I believe, on this one. Or is it on the coast? Yes, the lane divergence is showing up on the LUV and some of the airlines, but that's coming up on the next video. Yeah, and that's just some examples of what we're looking for and why we're trading these levels, and fast. But going into this week, you might see a great setup, but any bad news could flush all these things just to give you a headache. Thursday is all we have to get to. I mean, we're going to watch the futures after the close. Welcome to come by, DayTradingRadio.com. Come on by. That starts at 6 o'clock tonight. That's Sunday, June 14th. And I'm going to be here broadcasting that live. I'm going to try to do a little show tonight, maybe from like 6 to 9. 6 to 9, yeah. 3-hour show, 6 to 9 if you get this, all right? So I'll see you there. I'm going to be working on the watch list next and get that out to the members. All right.